honored to welcome our honorary degree recipient and commencement speaker, the 57th Governor of New Jersey, Mikie Sherill. We couldn't be more excited that this is Governor Sherill's first commencement as Governor of New Jersey. And she chose the right university, of course, her hometown university, Montclair State University. Interestingly, it's particularly appropriate because a few years ago, Representative Sherill then received an honorary degree from Bloomfield College. And so she's now an incredibly distinguished, or will be, alumna of both Bloomfield College and Montclair State University. Rare company indeed. For Montclair, being a state institution doesn't just reflect the fact that a significant portion of our budget comes from the state. What makes us public is our obligation to serve the public good. We are very appreciative of it. Our founding fathers recognized that we needed an educated public to have a functioning democracy. It is why in the middle of the Civil War, right in the middle of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln signed something called the Morrill Act, which created land-grant universities. And in 1890, that set of universities was expanded to serve African Americans who had recently been emancipated. In many ways, this opening up of public education was a forerunner to the normal schools I talked about initially. This country needed universities to embrace a responsibility to service, and we, Montclair State University, still respond to that call. Community engagement and civic participation is built into all we do and the ways that we educate our students. Every time our students work off campus, through internships, clinical experiences, they have an opportunity to learn and see how action is rooted in trust, understanding, to be extremely effective. And so, we are enormously gratified to have a speaker and honoree today that embodies the public service core of Montclair State University. Governor Sherill, throughout her life and career, has demonstrated what it means to put public service at the forefront of your life. Governor Sherill is a graduate of the United States Naval Academy. Go Navy, there I heard that. A former Navy helicopter pilot, former federal prosecutor, and a former member of the House of Representatives. She has taken the oath of office numerous times to protect and defend the Constitution, and she has honored that oath time and time again in her many different forms of service. Now as governor, she has already taken swift actions to ensure the health and prosperity of New Jersey families, ensuring the Garden State prioritizes affordability, efficiency, and infrastructure that will support many generations to come. I should also point out that she's a proud mother of four and knows something about balancing the obligations of work and family that so many of our graduates and so many of our families have done during their time as students. By the way, it's a couple days past Mother's Day, but let's give a big cheer for all the mothers in the audience today.
Whoa, yeah!
You can never cheer too much for our mothers. Learn that lesson. So, it is my great pleasure to invite Chair Slider to bestow the honorary degree on Governor Mikie Sherill, truly an example for our university of what it means to embrace public service and commitment to our community. Chair Slider.
Thank you, President Capel. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the State of New Jersey and the Board of Trustees of Montclair State University, and upon the recommendation of the President and the faculty, I confer upon you the right of the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all the rights, duties, privileges, and obligations which the diploma is the written witness. Congratulations.
That's my president. That's my president.
What an honor. Thank you so much, President Coppell. Ken, I have to disagree a little bit, though, with the president, who sort of poo-pooed the idea of being on the Jumbotron. It's pretty cool. You guys are going to like it. You guys are going to like it a lot. Good morning and congratulations. What a truly amazing accomplishment. And I know President Coppell started it, but we got to do it again. Could all of our graduates please stand and give a huge round of applause to thank all the people who loved you, who supported you, encouraged you along the way. Nobody does this alone. Parents, grandparents, friends, family, and loved ones. Thank you. Thank you. As I was thinking about today, I considered what I could offer to all of you in these few moments that we have together. You guys are about to live lives full of adventures, challenges, and opportunities. And I hope that something, maybe just one small thing, resonates and helps you on that journey. I'm a bit older than you, and as you can imagine, my early life was a lot different than yours. But I think it offers some insight into how we arrived at this moment, what it means, and where we go next. When I was born in 1972, Vietnam was ended. Watergate was just coming to light. Actually, now that I'm talking about that, I'm realizing I'm a lot older than a lot of you guys. The greatest generation, men and women who grew up during the Great Depression and fought in World War II, were about the age that I am today. They've been called the greatest generation because of their resiliency, their sacrifice, their work to rebuild our economy in the wake of economic devastation and a world war. They did that by putting the greatest good over their own individual goals. So I grew up hearing my grandpa's stories of moving back into his grandfather's farm during the Depression and fighting the war. The internet, cell phones, AI, and self-driving cars were only dreamed about in science fiction novels. The Berlin Wall fell in my senior year in high school, effectively ending the almost half-century-long Cold War. So I started at the Naval Academy in the summer of 1990. I had a sense that the great conflicts of the world were over. Democracy had won. And contrary to the history books and political philosophers, it didn't seem like we needed to fight all that hard to protect democracy anymore. Then 9/11 happened. And in the 20 years of war that followed, the lessons we learned and the values we worked so hard to spread across the world seemed forgotten. After decades of supporting the Geneva Conventions, investigating war crimes, advocating for the release of jailed journalists and dissidents, suddenly the United States was implicated in stories of torture, rendition, Guantanamo. And as I stand here now trying to chart for all of you where we are, I keep coming back to that time. Certainly there are a million different choices that have led us to where we are today. Jobs destroyed by globalization, not enough done to protect workers and middle-class families, foreign policy failures, institutions undermined by our own leaders. But for me, maybe because at that time I was still serving in uniform and then studying law, it feels like that period after when we lost our way, when might became right, when the ends justified the means, and that dream of our founding fathers that each human being has inalienable rights endowed by their Creator seemed to fade. Because democracy, at its heart, demands a belief in the innate value of all people. A belief that together, with all of our struggles and triumphs and different experiences and backgrounds, we can set the best path forward to do the most amount of good for the most amount of people. But you have to have faith, because something else is also true. It's true that there are those out there who only care about themselves, who'd crash the global economy to line their own pockets, who'd attack our freedoms, our elections, the basic rights of citizens and immigrants simply to amass power. And there are too many who, in hard times, choose to stay quiet rather than to fight the injustice. But that path is not for any of you, because you are powerful. That may sound surprising. Many of you have parents who weren't born in this country. Over half of you got financial assistance for college, so you don't come from privilege. But in this moment, with this degree, you're more powerful than ever. You will chart the path forward. And so let me tell you why I have so much faith in you. Why I know that you can chart that path ahead. Because I see the best of our history in all of you. Immigrant and first-generation Americans driven to protect their new home were a key part of our armed forces in World War II and a key to the success of the greatest generation. Likewise, many of you and your parents are here because of the opportunities that exist here. To find a good job, escape oppression, receive a world-class education. I've spoken to young women who tell me how different their lives are from their mothers. Or parents who talk about coming here with nothing and now proudly having a business to pass on to their kids. I've spoken to other families who've lived here for generations, but kids who have experiences far beyond those of their parents, who've had the opportunity to learn from new models of education and innovation and to build new technologies and businesses here at home. People like you make our state strong, the most innovative, dynamic, and diverse in the nation. New Jersey has always punched above its weight.
I love New Jersey!
That's because we have the most scientists and engineers per square mile. We've invented everything, from the light bulb to the moving picture to the laser, with everyone from Thomas Edison to Albert Einstein moving here to innovate among the world's brightest minds. We've produced and inspired artists from Sinatra to Springsteen to SZA. This is the place that you have come of age in, the legacy that you inherit and now drive forward. And it is exactly what we need to meet the challenges of the future. Because like the greatest generation, you have been tested. A global pandemic, social media driving hate, and you have a challenge ahead in AI, and how you face it will determine the course of our nation. The future is uncertain, and the big upheavals are already here. We're at a fork in the road. Are you going to face our challenges in a way that brings the most amount of good to the most people? Everything I've seen about you suggests that's exactly what you'll do. You are more empathetic, more thoughtful, more tested than any generation since at least the greatest generation and possibly ever. You know the promise of this country, and you've had to face clear-eyed its shortcomings. So what is the path ahead for you? How will you chart a different course? Here are 6 suggestions, many of them things that you already do, that I think will make your path clear. First, do something to make the world better. Stay curious. Don't be a martyr. Be optimistic. Be open to opportunity and dream big. First, start by doing something to make the world better. It won't only help repair the world, it will help you live a longer, happier, purpose-filled life. It can take many forms, big and small. Be an empathetic teacher who works to understand the mental health crisis that kids are going through. Or a police officer who doubles as a basketball coach. Or use your money and power to ensure that AI is rolled out in an ethical way that benefits humankind as a whole. 2, stay curious. If you disagree with someone, ask yourself, how did they come to think that way? Push yourself on your own beliefs. If there's a tough problem, think about creative solutions. Try to learn new things for the rest of your life. And next, don't be a martyr. This could be a tough one. Unfairness abounds. And unfortunately, bad things happen to good people. But in tough situations, if you only think about all the ways you were wrong and all the successful people who don't deserve their success, you'll make yourself miserable and nothing will change. Be solution-oriented. You're human. Your life is going to have ups and downs. But, and this is my next point, be optimistic. People said I couldn't do most of the things I've done. Go to the Naval Academy, become a Navy pilot, win my first congressional race, win the governor's race. And on my path, there have been too many setbacks and failures to count. But instead of focusing on them, instead of focusing on the things that went wrong, I kept moving forward, learning from my mistakes, focusing on what I could do about that. If I wasn't optimistic, I might have given up. But so many things, including all of you here today, give me hope. My 5th tip, be open to opportunity. We have amazing opportunities in healthcare, human rights, education, to name a few. And I'm working to address them now, but some of those plans will succeed and some won't. But even in failure, it will open up new pathways to the future. Older generations aren't used to this pace of change, but you are. Be on the lookout for new opportunities, even if you had a different path planned. And finally, dream big. I was recently at a graduation where the speaker suggested that the graduating students dream small. That it was in little, small ways that the students would achieve success. I looked around and I was like, are you kidding me? No, that is not good advice. Not you, Montclair. Listen to me. You dream big. I know kids at this school. I know it wasn't always easy to get here and get through. So you are already familiar with setting your sights high. Keep them there. Like most of us, you'll probably fall short more times than you can count. But even then, you'll be experiencing the world in ways you never thought possible. And you'll be open to those opportunities that you hadn't considered. Because, like FDR said about the greatest generation, your generation has a rendezvous with destiny. It's normal in life to want things to be easy. We all want to be happy. We all want everything to go well. That's not the world you've inherited. Interesting people, good people, courageous people come from hard times. People in this class of 2026, like all of you. So, as you prepare to leave here today, look around at your extraordinary classmates, people you've got to know and respect over these past few years. Think of the tremendous courage they've shown, getting to college, working multiple jobs, standing up for their families, pushing their way through and never letting go of their dreams. Think of the courage you found to do all of that, and let it carry you forward on your rendezvous with destiny. We'll all be rooting for you. And one more huge congratulations to the fierce class of 2026. Congratulations.